for Congress in West Virginia 2 by a fairly substantial margin, considering this was a 7-person race. Alex Mooney joins us on Metro News Talkline. Alex, good morning. Belated congratulations. How are you?
Thanks. Good morning. Good to be on again with you, Hoppy.
Do you take a couple days off? What'd you do?
Slowing down, yeah. Catching up on the things in the personal life and, thanking the voters and thanking the folks who've supported my campaign. It's nice to call and say thank you and talk about the results. As you mentioned there just a second ago, I did win 15 of the 17 counties, and we've been looking at the numbers and very pleased the voters responded to my message. And I thank the voters of the 2nd District for giving me a chance. I also want to thank all the candidates who ran. It was a spirited campaign. Charlotte Lane has served the state of West Virginia well for many years, and she deserves our thanks for that. Steve Harrison has been a champion for the unborn and family values, and I thank him for his involvement in the race. And all the candidates, Ken Reed, Warren Walters Jr., Jim Moss, Robert Fluharty, all ran strong races, and I appreciate their running. And now it's time to unite and on to the general election.
I think in this campaign, between you and Nick Casey, the Democratic nominee, one thing, people are either going to like you, Alex, or they're going to not like you. I don't think there's going to be any borderline undecided by the time this thing is over, because you run as a conservative. You tend not to parse things out too much. We're going to get to some area where you may parse a little bit, but in terms of where you are on the views, you could go to the conservative line and start checking it off. I mean, that's who you are. So.
Yes, it's who I am. I've never hid who I was. I'm a strong conservative, and I'm a fighter, and there's going to be great differences between me and the Democrat opponent. And I'll say, look, Nick Casey's a nice man, but he's a liberal. I'm a conservative. I will fight to repeal Obamacare. He supports Obamacare. Nick Casey even wanted to nationalize health care even further than Obamacare. I'm proud, as you saw during the campaign, of my A-plus rating from the NRA. I'm solidly pro-Second Amendment. Nick Casey believes in some gun control laws. I am, going to work hard to fight back against Barack Obama's war on coal, which is costing jobs in the state of West Virginia. And Nick Casey's a big Obama supporter. So there's some differences between us, and I think you're right. If you're a liberal, you may not agree with many of my views. If you're a conservative, which I think the West Virginia voters are conservative, I believe they're going to show that in this election, in the congressional races all across the state, as well as the U.S. Senate race with Shelley Moore Capito. I think the voters of West Virginia have had enough of big government coming in and taking away our freedoms. That's what I'm going to fight for.
Alex, how concerned are you, though, that as a rock-ribbed conservative, as a red meat conservative, that you will have trouble with moderates to independents, the largest, the fastest growing chunk of people in this state? Voters are independents. Ton of independents in Berkeley County, right next door to you. A ton of independents in Kanawha County. How does your message resonate with independents and moderates?
Yeah, it's my belief that independents want to see somebody fight back against Barack Obama's war on coal. I've yet to find anybody who thinks Obamacare is a great idea for West Virginia. They want someone who's going to fight. So the issues I'm running on reach independents. I don't know, you say moderates, but a lot of the voters I talk to in West Virginia want a fighter.
They're moderates.
I'll say I've always worked across party aisles, I'll tell you that. I mean, I don't want to be partisan about it. I've worked with Democrats in the past. I'll work with any Democrat who wants to work to bring jobs to West Virginia, defend Social Security and Medicare, to make sure we take care of the elderly population. I'll work across party aisles. Those things don't necessarily reach the headlines when they happen. I've always been that way. I've always worked with Democrats, and I think 40% of the Democrats, there's an untold story, 40% of the Democrats did not vote for Nick Casey in this primary. 40% of the Democrats wouldn't vote for Barack Obama in West Virginia in the primary for his reelection in 2012. So there are Democrats, and independents that I can work with that I think actually share my agenda for fighting back against what Obama is doing right now to West Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right. 40% did not vote. They voted for Misha Poore, but Misha Poore is farther left than Nick Casey. So I don't know whether I think the question would be whether those 40%, whether they say, okay, I'd rather have Nick Casey than Alex Mooney, or they just stay home. I don't know. I'm not sure how you'd get them to vote for you if they voted for Misha. I don't see Misha Poore voters voting for you unless there's something I'm missing here.
Well, I saw that as a vote against Nick Casey, who was presumed to be the easy nominee on the Democrat side. And I think people were surprised that 40% of the vote did not go to him, given that he had all the financial resources and things.
Yeah, I thought 40 was a little high. I mean, I just,
Right. A little bit of an untold story there. If Misha Poor had more resources, she might have been able to beat him. But he's been around for a long time, and he's known. And I think some of the folks that know him obviously did not want to vote for him. But I think that 40% number, I put it out there because I believe 40% didn't vote for Obama of the Democrats. I believe Shelley Moore Capito has consistently in this congressional district been able to get a lot of Democrats to vote for her. And on the issues that I'm talking about, defending the Second Amendment, fight back against Obama's war on coal, repeal Obamacare, those are all the same issues Shelley Moore Capito has championed as a member of this congressional district and now as a candidate for U.S. Senate. And we're the same on those issues.
Alex Mooney is with us. He's the Republican nominee in the 2nd Congressional District. He'll be taking on Nick Casey. Are you a Tea Party member?
I'm proud to have gotten support from all sorts of groups, from Tea Party groups, from Second Amendment groups, from pro-life groups. I'm the type of guy who makes up my own mind on all the issues. I will represent the voters of the 2nd District of West Virginia. And, I've been to the Tea Party gatherings, and they have supported my campaign, and I'm proud of that because Tea Party groups, I believe, want the same things other West Virginians want. They want spending under control. And this is not even an issue where it's a moderate or conservative or liberal. The voters of West Virginia want to see the federal government balance the budget, just like they balance their budgets. That is an issue, I think, that resonates across all types of voters. And that's what the Tea Parties want. That's what I want, absolutely. As a state senator for 12 years, I never once voted for a tax increase. So I can make this clear. If you want taxes and higher spending, I'm not the guy you should vote for. Vote for Nick Casey if you want higher taxes and bigger government spending. So, yeah, liberals can vote for him. But folks all across the aisle, Republicans, Tea Partiers, independents, even conservative Democrats, want to see government spending under control, and I'm committed to doing that, and that's why I have that support.
Alex Mooney's with us, and you mentioned your time in a state senate. It was the Maryland State Senate. You were senator there for 12 years. You were chairman of the Republican Party in Maryland for a couple years. You moved to West Virginia in, early 2013?
That's right, February of 2013.
I was reading a Gazette profile of you yesterday, and they quoted Joe Cluster. Joe Cluster, current executive director of the Maryland Republican Party. He said, quote, he's wanted to run for Congress for a while. He saw an opportunity in West Virginia and took advantage of that. Does that suggest that your move to West Virginia to run for Congress, and there's nothing wrong with having a desire to run for Congress, but are you opportunistic?
I think anybody who runs for office looks for opportunities. But no, I wanted to live in a state that shares my values. As you know, my mother fled communist Cuba to live in this country so she could live in freedom. I chose to live in West Virginia because I want to live in a state that shares my values and a conservative values. And I'm dedicated to fighting for freedom. Look, I was president of my high school student body, okay? I've always been engaged in the political process because I see what's happening in this country, and I want to do something about it. I ran my pro-life group as a college student, and I was president of my pro-life group. I've been passionate about defending my values, passionate about defending the unborn, passionate about defending our freedoms in this country. So I moved to West Virginia a year and a half ago. I waited a while to see who was running, and I saw how the field was shaping up. A lot of folks were not running that could have run, so I decided to step forward, and I still believe that I represent the values of conservative West Virginia voters. Much better than Nick Casey does. Nick Casey does not represent the values of conservative West Virginia voters.
Alex, did you see, as a Republican who was in the legislature of Maryland for 12 years, Maryland, if there's a blue state, Maryland is a blue state. I mean, it is really blue. So did you see West Virginia becoming red and thought that your opportunity was better in a state that was turning red as opposed to a state which is solidly blue and not going to get red?
Yeah, I fought in the liberal state for a long time, and I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore. I want to live in a state that shares my values. I will say it's exciting to be part of a state that I believe is turning Republican. I do believe Shelley Moore Capito is going to be the first Republican U.S. Senator in over 50 years. We almost and should have won our governor's race. I think the state House of Delegates is going to turn Republican next year. Now, I'm not as involved with that because I'm running for Congress, but it's exciting to see a House of Delegates. I think Delegate Tim Armstead will be an excellent Speaker of the House. It's nice to see a party with energy, something to fight for. As I said during the primary, though, it's not good enough just to elect Republicans, just any old Republican. You want to elect someone who will fight and stand for the values of the conservative voters. That's what I am.
Has your campaign talked with the Casey campaign at all about debates? I mean, I would look forward to a series of spirited debates between you two guys.
Sure, yeah, I would too. I have not. I think everyone's just kind of getting over the election, and we would look forward to debating the issues. And again, this is where, I've been a lifelong conservative. And again, I believe I represent the conservative values of West Virginia voters, and I'm happy to contrast that with liberal Nick Casey, who's Obama's top supporter. He even supported Barack Obama in the Democrat primary against Hillary Clinton in 2008. So I think he's way out of step with the voters of West Virginia. I'd be happy to contrast and discuss that going forward. There are 17 counties in this district. I will tell you, I view it as not just a challenge, but an opportunity, and I enjoy traveling all 17 counties, discussing the issues with the voters. And I hear the same concerns, Hoppy. I hear skepticism, not about where you used to live or why you're running. The skepticism is, are you really going to stand up against an out-of-control government that is spending more and more every year, no matter what party seems to be in power? Spending seems to always go up. That's the skepticism I hear.
We're going to have you back, you and Nick, hopefully multiple times before November. Right. And in that time, we're going to drill down hard and deep on some issues so people know what they're going to vote for. So look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Hoppy.
All right, thanks. Alex Mooney, Republican nominee for Congress in West Virginia, too. This should be a classic race.
Did you know that most